A large portion of the Jewish nation has returned to its homeland, but the heart, soul, and mind of much of the Jewish nation are still in exile mode. This state of affairs must and will inevitably change. This is Torah Nation TV from Jerusalem, and we are speaking with the head of Machon, Shilo, Rabbi David Bar-Hayim. Shalom, Rabbi Bar-Hayim.
Shalom.
When does one say Birkot HaShachar?
This is a question which I have been asked on many occasions, and the simple answer is that Birkot HaShachar, when we say Birkot HaShachar, I should explain, we refer to the berachot, the blessings that a person, a Jew, is supposed to say in the morning, all the initial actions that he or she takes in the morning, getting up, washing one's face, getting dressed, etc. The time to say Birkot HaShachar, based on what it says in the Talmud, in Masechet Berachot and Talmud Bavli Daf Samech, in the Rambam, in Ilchot Tefillah, Perek Zayin, and in other Rishonim such as the Rosh and the Tur, etc. The correct time for saying Birkot HaShachar is immediately upon waking and when one does the relevant action. So, therefore, in the case of waking, as we've mentioned in another video, the first bracha that one says, the first thing that one is supposed to say upon waking, even before one gets out of bed, is the bracha either Elohai Neshama or Baruch Atah Hashem Hayam Methim, either the Bavli or the Eretz Israeli version. And then there are brachot that one is to say as one does takes one certain actions or does certain things in the morning. For example, when one stands up, one is to say the bracha Zuqif Kefufim. And when one gets dressed, one is to say Malbish Arumim, etc. All these brachot are known, well known, and appear in every Sidur. The fact is that in the Gemara it is described quite clearly and plainly, as the Rosh and the Rambam and the Tur and others make very clear. It is clear from the Talmud that each bracha is connected to a specific action. And it's clear that when one makes the bracha in connection with that specific action, for example, if one says the bracha Mabish Aromim upon putting on some clothing in the morning, it is clear that one can say that bracha with a more heartfelt kavanat halev. One can more easily relate to the hesed, to the kindness that Hashem does for us on a daily basis by providing us all our most basic daily requirements, such as clothes to wear, for example. And when one washes one's face in the morning, one says the bracha ma'avir she'ena me'inai, and when one puts on one's shoes, one says the bracha she'asari kol sarachai. It is more straightforward, more obvious to a person that one should thank Hashem, and one appreciates these things more readily if one takes note of this fact immediately upon doing it and makes that bracha. And this is what Hazal had in mind. The reason that this is not the common practice nowadays is based largely on the fact, which is stressed for the most part by the Zohar and other Kabbalistic works, that when one wakes in the morning, until one washes one's hands 3 times from a vessel, with 3 times alternately on each hand with water from a vessel, until such time there is a ruach ra'ah, some evil spirit or some form of uncleanliness, ritual, spiritual uncleanliness that attaches to one's hands, and that one is not allowed to make any bracha until such time. Without going to that question, that issue now of ruach ra'ah, which perhaps we'll discuss on another occasion, the fact of the matter is, even if one is fully convinced that there is such a ruach ra'ah on one's hands, the fact is that the Talmud did not take this into account, and the Talmud told you to get dressed and to make these brachot in that order, and then only afterwards the Talmud speaks of making the bracha, washing one's hands, which is also, as we have mentioned in the past, connected to prepare as a preparation for saying Kriyat Shema and Tefillah in the morning. In other words, Natilat Yadayim, washing one's hands in the morning, is not required in order to get dressed or to wash one's face or to put on one's shoes. Netilat Yadayim is a preparation for Kriyat Shema and Tefillah. So by taking into account the teachings of the Zohar and various mystical scholars and books, the basic and fundamental thrust of Hazal in enacting these barachot and instructing us as to how to say them, and the spiritual benefit and the impact that they have on us when we say them at the right time in the proper way, this is lost, unfortunately, due to this tendency to take into account these rather extreme teachings of the Zohar, which are not to be found in the Talmud or in the Rishonim. And this is a case of Yasar Sicharo Behefsedo, where one is trying to gain one thing or live up to a certain ideal, but in fact is losing out on the other hand as a result. And this is not a wise move or something that can be recommended. The correct way is to follow the teachings of Hazal without addition and without subtraction.
Thank you, Rabbi Bar-Hayim. We would like to suggest the following opportunity to our viewers. If you identify with Rabbi Bar-Hayim's message and would like to sponsor or dedicate a video interview with the Rabbi in honor or memory of a loved one, if you would like to obtain Birkot Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the Rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.